think I might rather be blind.
Yeah, you've been watching too much Daredevil, I think.
That's the worst superhero ever.
Ever. All superheroes have something that makes them extraordinary. This guy's just disabled.
Here's a superhero that has cancer. Oh, this one has so much
What's
anxiety.
this guy's superpower? He's got extreme anxiety and he gets stomach pain a lot. Like, what?
Wait a minute. You're reading scriptures just randomly?
Welcome back to the Alpha Hour podcast, where a couple of betas try to pretend like we're alpha. What's going on?
Back at it.
You guys were golfing
Cheers.
all day,
Yes.
and I'm not a golfer. So I'm curious, if you had unlimited chances to golf, how often do you think you would golf to the point where you would get annoyed by it? It would be too much. Is there such a thing, you think, with golf?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like 4 days a week, 5 days a week?
It's tricky because it's totally, to me, dependent on how well you're playing. And we're not that good. You know what I mean? In the pantheon of, like, dudes that play really good golf, we're not bad, but we're not, like, really good. And, like, the minute you start to get frustrated with it, it can get very frustrating. So
But I think it goes both ways because, you know, we both had our little mini addictions like gambling. So when you're losing, it's like you feel like you can get it back and you're going to try harder and harder and like keep going. So sometimes it can go one of two ways where you're like, I'm done with this game for a while. I just need to walk away for 2 weeks. Or you could be like, I got to play again. I got to figure it out. I got to get that. I got to go to the range.
Like that.
And it's a product of, I think, who you're hanging out with and playing with. I mean, if you're hanging out with a good crowd and you got some good bets going on, good conversation, and you're playing decent, scramble, it kind of eliminates some of the frustration because it's not all on you all the time. I could probably play 4 or 5 times a week consistently. At some point, I'll get burnt out, but...
But what if you switched courses? Would that help
I think that
prolong?
helps. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that would help even more would be, like, to me, the biggest annoyance with golf is when you play and you're playing slow golf. And that's usually almost always determined by the people around you. So if you could be at a private course or something, I see the benefit because you could play quickly. But, you know, especially here, like we're in Northeast Ohio, you really have like 7 months to play golf, you know, with any amount of consistency.
What does playing quick mean, though?
Just when you hit
Getting
your
up
ball, you can go up to your ball and then hit right away.
Nobody's in front of you. You're able to just go and play at your pace. Because then, in all reality, at that point, you're playing golf. At that point, you're probably playing 18 holes in 4 hours. And so it's pretty quick. I mean, maybe even quicker than that if you're really, like, you know, if you're not a bad golfer and you get up, hit the ball, like, and you're not overthinking everything, yeah, you could play in 4 hours easy. So then it's not such a time suck. But the problem is, man, if you go out and play slow golf and it's 5-6 hours for 18 holes, that's your entire day.
Yeah, it can be draining.
It's
Kind of
brutal.
like another little analogy for things that you may have done more often, like amusement parks. They're pretty kick-ass. Riding a ride is pretty kick-ass. But waiting in the lines is fucking horrible.
Oh, it's awful.
But just think if you could go to an amusement park and like every line was non-existent and you could just go ride and it was like in your backyard. You'd probably do it way more often than the once a year that you probably do it now. But that's a little extreme. But yeah, if you're having efficient golf and you're playing decent, yeah, I could easily play 4 or 5 times a week. Hell, this week we're going to play like 5 times.
We will. Yeah, it's such a hard game, too. And, like, that's the thing that's frustrating about it is, like, even when you get to a point where you can be, like, competent, you still are so bad.
That's what I mean. So have you guys ever had a coach, like an
No.
official coach?
No.
Because even if you switch or move a little part of your body, it changes everything, right?
Yeah. That's what's so cool about the game is you're always there's so much room for improvement. Like I'm trying to think of any other sport or activity or like hobby game where like you're probably going to get to like a point where you're kind of plateauing. Like that's a game where it's like you can always improve. There's chipping, putting. Like what other game, I guess any sport like basketball, you got layups and like a free throw.
Yeah, there's
different
nuance to
shots that you work on, but it's still like just your eye hand. But there's so many clubs and then loft, and you're never gonna have the same shot twice.
That's what I mean. And even trying to remember how you hit the last shot, my memory doesn't work like that. I would definitely not remember what the hell I think that's why I hate golf. Well, I don't hate it, but I just never got good, and I wasn't able, or I didn't want to stick with it.
It's something that you have to like accept that when you do that as an adult who you're just not going to ever be like really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so frustrating in the sense that like a lot of other stuff you feel like you can really get pretty good if you devote yourself to doing it a lot. Like, if I spent all day every day for the next like year working on my golf game, it's not like I'm going to be on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, you might only improve by 10%, or maybe 10%.
Right, and I could get worse. Like, who knows? That's why that game is just like it's a humbling game in that sense. Like, because if you like can't control your anger, if you can't control your emotions, if you can't do that kind of thing, like, golf is not for you. Like, because you're just gonna be angry the whole time. Like, every time you hit, it could be better. You know what I mean? It's not like, hey, I shot a 3-pointer and made it. Like, that doesn't exist. Like, hole in one maybe, but like that doesn't ever occur. So it's just such an impossibly difficult game.
It's like one of the most difficult games ever for any person to like master, but at the same time, it's also a game that you can play like till you're probably 80 years old, as long as you're in decent shape.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So it's one activity that, man, you could make it a lifelong thing that you kind of do and get together with your buds and play. But yeah, it can be super frustrating, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
The worst thing about golf: women on the golf course.
How so?
No skirts, man. It is.
They don't allow skirts?
No. Well, no, I'm saying I don't want skirts out there.
Oh, I gotcha.
It is brutal. Brutal.
Can you? I need you to elaborate.
There's some that are, if you're not good. It's the same thing with guys that are bad.
Yeah, but I feel like it's another level. For instance, the other night our league got caught up in a group of 8 skirts, and they were having an instructional league, and I mean it's the slowest goddamn thing you've ever seen. Instructional,
just in normal play.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And if you're behind that, that's awful.
Oh, it's the worst.
But wouldn't that be awful if it was a group of dudes?
Yeah, I mean, but it's easier to blame it on them because they're women.
Okay, gotcha.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, the women, I fucking hate them. But if it was shitty men, I'd hate them just the same.
There's a group of these gay guys are so slow. They suck.
Yeah, I can just throw whatever term I want at them. But there's something about skirts on a golf course, and if your wife ever asks you like to play golf, like, I feel like that's the moment when like you got to like make golf so bad.
Well, dudes, here's what I don't understand is when guys or women, or okay, from the guy's perspective, why you would want to have a whole lot in common when it comes to hobbies with your significant other. Because the reason you're doing those hobbies is because you can get away from them,
your
right?
Time.
Yes,
right.
Yes. Everybody needs a little
unless it's
time.
Like, watching. Let's just say watching an NFL team that you like something like that, where it's like, all right, like if that other person's there, it's not really affecting me. But like, if I got to go like hit golf balls with my wife and she's hitting the ball like 48 yards, and it's gonna be a long day.
Yeah.
See, I don't know though, because like if Meg was good, I think that would be cool. Like, hey, we're bored. Like, let's go out instead of doing yard work tonight. We're gonna go play. And if I was watching her like lace them, and we had a competitive,
yeah, but she's not gonna be good.
Well,
that's like saying if my aunt had a dick, she'd be my uncle. Like, if she was like lacing him $200, but she's not.
But he was saying like I thought we were talking about the whole hobby thing, like overlapping. I don't think it would, because you want to do things. With your significant other.
Probably not all the time. So, for example, let's say, Meg was good at golf, and you guys, yes, you enjoyed playing golf together. But then there's times where you just want to play with your boys, and she might be like, "Well, why can't I come?" And you're like, she's like,
that would be a different.
That's what I mean. It kind of overlaps and it bleeds into it. It could be a little sticky
need
situation.
some you
or am I
identity.
thinking about this wrong?
No, you need some you identity.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, like Big Earn, Big Earn. His wife plays. I guess she's decent, and like it seems like he enjoys going out, because it's another thing. Like, I think they might actually understand it more, because if your wife hates golf just because you're always trying to go golfing with your boys and she doesn't get it, and it's like stupid, like why it takes you 6 hours to play, but if she enjoyed it and understood the experience and like, oh, I kind of get it, it's not like I have to deal with that, but it's like
I guess
it can make sense.
Yeah, as long as she understands, like if you say, hey, I'm going to play with the boys, and not necessarily say I don't want you to come, but don't come.
Yeah. Just
and she doesn't get mad. Then,
she needs her own space in life. Like, I don't want to do everything with any person, no matter who that person is. Like, and your wife would be the person in your life that you'd be the closest to. But the all reality is, like, you need your own interests.
Yeah.
Golf be damned. Like, whatever that is. Like, my wife likes to get her nails done. you know what I mean, whatever. Like,
you don't want to go get your nails done?
Correct.
I've been seeing a lot of dudes with their nails done, Al.
Is that a thing?
Oh my God, Al. I've seen a lot of guys popping up with nail polish on their fingers.
Is
and
it clear
that one's
or
called
like,
a manicure? Or is it
no, they're getting colored.
Pedicure's the feet.
Is it?
Manicure's the fingers.
Whatever the fingers are, but they're getting their nails they put nail polish on them with colors. It
with
looks
colors.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think it's the cool thing to do now.
Like what age? You're not talking grown men. This is like
no, I'm talking grown men. Probably mid. I've seen people in their mid-20s. I've seen people in their early to mid-30s. I think it's becoming.
How do you go to work?
It's becoming cool.
Where do you see these
well,
people
they're online creators, so they can get away with it. They're not going to your corporate
think they're more
job.
those extremists that are just a little louder and like.
Yeah. Well, that's
or
like
you're following weird people.
No, it's just I see it on the internet. Like I watch YouTube videos just so I stay in the know of what's going on.
Well, that's like
and
yeah, in that. Well, they have a little more freedom. They can get away with it. I've always
Who's
equated
that?
these creators that he's referring to, like these
Sean.
they them.
That's the
We should have introduced
know.
ourselves.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm Jarrad. I have a tie-dye shirt on. I go by Hee Haw, and I have a small dick. Gentlemen.
Yeah, that video was just unbelievable.
Yeah, there was another Kamala Harris, I think. Yes, and but that's why I was wondering why those Microsoft ones kept popping up.
That's older.
Yes, I know, but they kept
that was
popping up now, and I'm like, why? And then I eventually heard about the Kamala Harris thing. How she introduced herself, and
I'm just trying to
what is
figure
happening?
out, like, what?
Oh, I didn't make the connection there.
What is that? What is the description thing?
I don't know if it's
The pronouns are weird.
I mean,
enough,
if it's
but,
for
like,
deaf people,
it would be blind.
Yeah, not
But,
deaf,
like,
deaf people, blind
Are
people.
blind people watching television, hoping to hear what
that
people
wasn't
are wearing?
a true statement that came out. I think it was one of our buddies speculating, right?
No,
No,
but
she's.
I'm saying, like, can you think of a better explanation? Because I simply cannot.
But even if you're
I racked my
blind,
brain.
like even describing a color, how do
Right.
they know what a color is?
and like anything, like
Believe me, I'm colorblind. I know.
right.
Quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Fully Loaded Tobacco Free Chew. Check out the description of this video or the show notes to get 20% off your next order. Or you tell me you have a beard, and they're like, well, what's a beard?
Right.
I'm like, well, it's hair on your face. Well, what's hair?
Right,
I don't.
if I'm just saying like what I'm wearing, is this making their life better? They're just more confused now. They're probably confused as we are. Like, why are these people describing what they're wearing? It's weird for them.
Yeah, I know.
So again, we're assuming that that's who they're talking to, but otherwise, if they're not talking to blind people, I have no idea what's going on. I can't imagine how you would describe your clothing and your appearance to people who are looking at you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an unnecessary thing to describe. It's like we're going to extend every conversation out another, like 40%, because we're going to describe our clothing and our general appearance to people. It makes no sense. I'd love for someone to come on and explain to me what on earth they're doing and why they're doing it. Like, maybe there's a reason, but I'm wildly unaware.
I think they're just trolling. The Microsoft thing, I think, was real, because I almost feel like they have to cover their grounds, or else they're going to get canceled or in trouble. Or
they announced like 15 Indian tribes in that video.
I know.
They were like, we're awesome. My name is Allison, and I'm half
Squatchewan
Asian,
tribe,
and I want to say hello. That this land belonged to the Squamish tribe,
Yes.
And you're like, and they named like 8 tribes,
a lot.
and it's just, it blows your mind. You're like, there's no way that this is how people interact with other. Like, okay, like, but how far do we go back?
Right, because they missed.
go back
they
infinitely?
Missed, they missed some people.
Right.
They missed a lot of people.
Like,
a
if
lot
you
of
go back to
tribes or
like,
groups of
let's just
people.
say I'm in northern Italy. Like, I have to name every tribe that's ever lived there. I'm just gonna keep talking.
Yeah,
It's gonna be me naming 800 tribes. Like, what are we doing? And like, when does the statute of limitations run out on when you don't have any more claim to that land? Like, I don't know. Like, at what point are you like, hey, like, yeah, your people were here 5,000 years ago. We're gonna just leave it,
Yeah.
and not talk about it.
Sorry.
Like, sorry, but like, we've all, like, my people were probably run out of whatever country they were from too. It sucks. It's a shame, but like, can we talk about now?
Oh, it's wild.
It's beyond wild.
Yeah.
I think the Kamala Harris thing. I almost got the feeling that she was trolling a little bit by doing that.
Well, that's the only explanation. Because
really,
I've been sitting here pondering, and it's like there's
they're just trying.
Hey, I'm wearing a No Land Like Cleveland shirt and black pants and this camo hat. All right, like why would you do that?
So you think maybe that she's like up there thinking, I'm gonna say this wacky shit just to like get a rise out of people?
I guess why not? Because people
don't
don't like. From what I understand, people
it's
don't like
actually the
her
most
anyway,
reasonable
so
thing that I've heard.
might as well just have fun with it, right?
That's more reasonable than the blind thing.
Yeah. Why not? We'd probably troll too.
Well, you're like a dog with a bone with anything that you don't understand. So you didn't like attack this. Like, why are they doing this? And
The explanation that made some semblance of sense that Drew brought up was that blind thing, because at least. But then with like an ounce of critique, it can just be blown up. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't think of an actual explanation where I'm like, this is why you would introduce yourself to people that can see you.
What is it? Because blind people can't see, obviously. So, like, they're trying to, in their version, give them a visualization of what they think blue jeans or a skirt look like and what colors
They've
look like.
never seen it.
Yeah.
They don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's not like you're like, I'm an Indian lady. They're like, what the hell does that mean? Like, they don't have a frame of reference unless they were blind. So basically, the only people that this affects were people blinded after having sight.
Which is what percentage of the population? Maybe 1%. I'm just throwing a number out there, but it's not very high.
That's the only people this could possibly affect with any amount of. And maybe that's like the new victim class that I'm not aware of. But we're talking about like in the entire United States, maybe like, I don't know, 380 people. I mean, like, is there that many? I've never met a person.
And they matter. They matter. They matter.
All their lives matter. But I'm just saying, like, there's not that many of them.
Right.
Maybe we shouldn't inconvenience everyone else and make that clip that should have been 8 seconds, 48 seconds by doing that. Like, maybe they could just ask the person sitting next to him, like, hey, what's that idiot who keeps using pronouns? What's she wearing? If they're that concerned.
Yeah.
Because my guess is they're not concerned. They're more concerned with why the hell she's saying what she's wearing out loud to a bunch of people that can see her. That'd be my guess. Call me crazy.
Oh, man.
I didn't really pay attention to that video clip, but now that you guys are breaking it down, it does seem absolutely bizarre. Like, did they also have somebody walking around with, like, Braille? And, like, were they tapping for people, like, that only hear through, like, sounds and feel? Like,
what? Okay, here's a
where do you
question.
stop?
Would you guys rather be blind or deaf?
Deaf. No doubt. And I don't even know if it's, like, I don't think that's a conversation. I think it's, like, blind or cut your two arms off.
Yeah, you'd rather be deaf. I guess, yeah.
Deaf's easy. Deaf's so easy. Like, there's, honestly, I like things quiet anyway. It might be kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I like to see how small my dick is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's awesome.
Like, yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, the thing's small.
Look down and be like,
still small. Didn't grow.
That's a good question, though. Would you rather have both of your limbs, arms, cut off or be blind? There's an actual loss on that. I feel like being deaf is like...
Prosthetics are so good nowadays, yeah, because even if you have all of your limbs, if you're blind, you can't use them.
But what if you couldn't get prosthetics? I think I might rather be blind. At least I can.
And have use.
At least I can feel things.
Yeah, you've been watching too much Daredevil, I think.
That's the worst superhero ever.
Ever. Can we
They're coming out with a new movie, a new Daredevil movie.
No, they're not.
Yes, listen. So,
who was in the first one? Was it Ben Affleck?
Was he? Oh, I did.
He's been Batman and Daredevil.
I'll say this: that guy was a nice Batman. But that
There's no Christian Bale, as you know.
Well, to his credit, Daredevil is just like all superheroes have something that makes them extraordinary. This guy is just disabled.
Yeah, it's
all
like
his other senses more than overcompensate.
It's like, hey,
here's
a superhero that has cancer.
Yeah,
it's like, what are we doing? Oh, this one has so much anxiety.
What's this guy's superpower? He's got extreme anxiety and he gets stomach pain a lot. Like what? What do you mean?
Yeah. I forget the storyline. Like, if we're going down this Daredevil, was he like a ninja or whatever you want to call it beforehand, or did it all supposedly come about after
you know what?
He went blind?
He actually may be who Kamala Harris is talking to. Now that I think about it, I believe he lost his sight after birth. He wasn't born blind.
I don't know the origin story, so
I believe it was.
I'm gonna believe you.
For the sake of this argument, let's just say he was.
Yeah, I think some random like weird dust or something into his eyes.
Yeah, like
I mean, I might be making that up, but it's something along those lines.
Was dust. It was bad dust. But in all reality, that guy is the one that she's talking to. But I think he then acquires his powers because he's blind. He can like see things with sonar. I mean, he's like a dolphin but blind.
Marvel is good with making movies, though, so I feel like they might make this new movie right, but it's still just not a good superhero.
You know what movie catapulted the whole Marvel series?
It's definitely Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr. I believe that's the one.
That was
and
a big
they
dog.
took a big gamble on him too because he was a ex-drug addict and he was going way downhill. They took a big gamble with him.
He's
on
slick
the
in
internet.
that
I
role.
saw a meme that said that it was Blade.
Oh,
with
Blade was good.
Wesley Snipes, and I think everything on the internet's correct.
I don't think that's what blew it back up. I think it was just Iron Man.
No, I mean it gave them an opportunity to keep going. It said something like it grossed, let's say, whatever, $200 million, and it was like their first
they weren't making
stab
money
at the
for a
Marvel
while.
world.
I didn't even know that was a Marvel movie.
Yeah,
they're redoing Blade too. So
that was a pretty fun movie.
They release their movies they release the release dates of their movies in like a 1.5 to 2 year time span. They're like, hey, this is the movies we're making over the next 1.5 2 years. And Daredevil is on there. A new Blade, which is gonna be awesome. There's like 2 more Avengers, like some Secret Wars. I nerded out on.
I don't like the
YouTube.
Avenger ones when all of them are together.
Yeah,
I like one being a badass.
There's
convoluted.
too many.
It's
is
always,
Hulk in the Marvels, or is he?
Yeah, he's in all those Avenger movies too.
He had his own show. It was alright. He just shoots arrows. This is the problem.
That's you know what? I would actually argue that Hawkeye, is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
He's the worst. Daredevil has some skill.
Yeah,
that
that's
guy's
true.
like a really good archer.
He's a normal person.
He has this lame like. You know how annoyed you'd be.
Real quick, I didn't say Hawk. I meant Hulk. H-U.
The Incredible Hulk.
The Hulk's in them as well.
I thought he said Hawk.
Yeah, that Hawkeye guy is the one. But honestly, imagine like that actor's name is Jeremy Renner. Like they call you and they're like, "Hey man, we're gonna put you into the Avengers movie," and you're like, "Hell yeah!
Yes.
Like, who am I playing?
Captain America, baby.
I'm gonna get." And they're like, "We got you slated as Hawkeye," and he's like, "Who's that?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, he's like an unbelievable marksman with the arrows. He's the best archer in the world." And he's like, well, "What's a superhero who can like fly?" And he's like, "No, he just shoots arrows real good, like, but really good. And he has like bombs on the arrows. Like, you'd be so annoyed, but you'd have to take it." And this cat has like made a career out of making those movies.
Yeah.
But let's be honest.
Would you rather be the Daredevil?
Yeah.
Hey, you're gonna be a blind guy, and
I
all
think
your
it's
other
better.
senses. Are
I think it's better. I think it's better.
What, to be Hawkeye?
No, I think Daredevil, I now convinced myself otherwise. Daredevil is cooler than Hawkeye.
I guess it depends how you look at it. Because
Is his name Hawkeye?
Hawkeye.
Okay.
Even if it's not, it sounds right.
We're
I
gonna
didn't even know
call
this
it.
one existed. Wait, is Aquaman in this one too? Marvel?
That's DC.
DC.
That's like the other one.
See, I never knew Aquaman was a thing because I was never into comic books, but that show was popular. Entourage when we were like in high school or whatever, and like he was always like almost gonna be Aquaman. I don't even know if
is
he
that
ever.
what it was? Was that the name of that character? Was it Aquaman?
Yeah, and I thought they just made it up.
I thought
and
they
then
did
they
too.
actually came out with a real Aquaman.
Yeah.
And what's his face from Game of Thrones? Big dude.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, he ended up getting that role, and I was like, it actually is a thing.
Yeah. No, yeah, Aquaman's a thing. It's kind of lame.
Was he in Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Was
Remember?
he? I didn't
Early
watch
on?
any Game of Thrones because I heard it was so good. I'm afraid I'll get addicted. And
It's
now
good.
there's so many episodes out that my life will
Yeah, he
go
married
to
the
waste.
Dragon Lady early on before she knew she was the Dragon Lady, I think.
Okay, I didn't realize because that's kind of where he blew up, I believe, right? I don't remember him being in anything other than Aquaman, but now that you guys tell me Game of Thrones, I don't really remember him.
I think that
anything
might
other.
be all. I don't
He
know his word.
hard in that movie, too. Remember, like, when he was giving it to her? It was like, almost like rape.
Yeah, no, he brings it.
Is there full-on sex scenes in there?
Yeah, which I'm always a little
like HBO porn.
How do you feel
like
about
softcore?
that? Yeah, no, it's like that. I'll be honest, I kind of don't need it in my shows. Like, I don't really need sex scenes.
Agreed.
I'm always like,
I fast forward.
yeah, it's like
when I'm by myself, I fast forward.
Well, if I want to watch porno, I'll just watch porno.
Yeah, yes.
Like, I'm always kind of weirded out by when I see a bunch of sex scenes in shows. I'm like, is this in here for a reason? Like, you can't just like fade to black and like we get it, like they banged. Like, I don't really need to watch them.
I think it helps describe the relationship.
I get it; they're gonna have sex. Like, but I'm just saying, like, I don't need that in my life. I don't.
No, I'm the same way. I fast forward. I take it to another level. I'm like, I don't even want to see this.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like
I think this is the downfall of how accessible porn is. You guys.
I've always kind of been like this. I think that. Here's my synopsis. I believe that people that work for Showtime and HBO need to set themselves apart in some way. And they're like, well, we have the same shows. We have the same content. But we can show a little bit of nudity. And they're like, all right, well, do some nudity. Like, and that like that's their thing. That's like their other level beyond, like, say, FX Network or something. So that's their claim to fame, and I think that they overplay it. It's like, let's just do a good show. Like, no one's watching Game of Thrones for the simulated sex scenes. And if you are, like,
you got a problem.
Hey, bro, like, there's porno. That,
yeah.
like,
you know who is? Probably like 10-year-old boys or 12-year-old boys.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they're stealing their parents' phone or going on hopping on.
Yeah, it's too accessible.
So who are they doing it for now?
I don't know.
For Sean. Me, I guess.
Sean and the people making the movie, so they can just sit there and watch this awkward interaction.
I mean, it's not like they're that long. It's like a 20-second little thing that shows this, and like she became pregnant, right? And didn't she like birth the dragons in the fire? I
believe you're right about that.
God, you guys are making me want to watch this show, but I'm afraid. I'm so afraid to.
It's a long,
but there's weird stuff
there.
too, like the whole incest thing with what's his face, the one-handed guy at the end, and his like sister. That whole thing made me weird. Like, why? Yeah. But did it happen a lot back then with like royalty?
I think incestuous stuff.
Oh, there was
with
weird,
royalty. Is
there was so much weird stuff going on.
Well, you want to keep it in the bloodline.
But isn't that how blue people were created?
Yeah, but blue people. Like, I think that was Appalachian. But yeah, no, I mean, if you mixed your DNA with enough of your other highly similar DNA, it's not going to end well. But even in the Bible, there's a lot of that. Like Sodom and Gomorrah, like they had that, and Lot. You know, the angels come down and they take Lot and his daughters out of Sodom and Gomorrah because there's just rampant sin going on, and then like Lot and his daughters like have kids. It's bizarre.
Your brother and sister have kids?
No, father and daughters.
Oh.
Like, because the girls talk about, like, wanting to, like, I read this scripture not that long ago, and I was like, what the heck is going on here?
What? Wait a minute. You're reading scriptures just randomly?
Not randomly. I'll see something that'll make me think of it.
And you'll start reading the Bible?
Yeah, you can look it up online now.
So you just look up like scriptures online?
I went to a lot of churches as a kid, so I'm very familiar with it. So like I like reading because I find it interesting.
But you do this?
Oh yeah, all the time.
That's crazy.
Dang, not that I believe in it. I think a lot
like
of it's beautiful and interesting. But then there's things like that where I'm like, what the heck are they talking about? And like in the Old Testament, it's wacky. Like you got guys living to like 300 years, and it's wacky.
It's strange,
but still fun.
Yeah.
Just stories, right? Thanks for checking out this podcast. Please make sure to hit that thumbs up button before you go. If you want to watch us continue the conversation, then click on this video to your left next. Quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Fully Loaded Tobacco-Free Chew. Check out the description of this video or the show notes to get 20% off your next order.